And we're live. What is happening? Try that again. What is happening? What's going on? What's up, John? How you doing, man? How's that truck coming along? Let me know if my internet gets bad. I've had like one day where it got sketchy. It was weird on a Tuesday. Oh, what'd you do on a Ford? Worked on a Ford too. Kia and a Power Stroke. Then I gotta work on a Dodge tomorrow. I gotta pull heads on a Hemi. ETR Garage. What's up, man? What's happening? I got a Hemi with a hundred and 20 or 150,000 miles with um 5.4 head gaskets. Oh, did you pull the? Is it on a truck or SUV? Did you pull the body or the cab or do it in vehicle? What's up, Steven? I got to pull heads. Oh, Blake, what's up, man? I got to pull heads on a Hemi tomorrow. It's got external coolant leak, and the warranty company they won't come out and look at it with they won't come out and look at it with the heads on. They want to wait until the heads come off, and they want to look at the head gaskets so they could probably try to claim that they're not faulty and they're not going to cover them. What's up, Anthony Robles? What's up, man? I like that video, brother. That was really cool. Oh, E350 van and no lift, cab on. Wow. Dang. That's like evap box out. Woo! That's no fun. He's not a diesel. What's up, nuts and bolts? Tools? Man, nuts and bolts tools or nuts and bolts tools has got a really cool looking snap-on roll cart today. Pretty cool. It was in blue, right? Wasn't on Instagram a whole lot. I tried to click through at lunchtime and a little bit on the way home, but I was pretty busy trying to get the used engine done today. Oh yeah, the warranty companies suck, man. They get out of so much crap. I've seen so many people get screwed by warranty companies. I had one time I had an AC system leaking, a power C system leaking, and the oil leaking. And they covered one of them, even though it said it covered it all. They only covered one repair. So yeah, that's a pretty sweet cart, man. I'm still torn about mine, man. I see people with the uh I see people with the slide top cartons. And I always think about how convenient that is to have somewhere to put your tools on and you know, my coworker he lays all his bolts out on like one of his, sliders, but man, not having the magnet on the back, that would be really tough for me. So Anthony Robles is an A's fan. Oakland A's. When I was a kid, I was an A's fan. My dad used to take me to the A's games, and then yeah, he would just drink lots of beer. I made it home, but yeah, just me and him. So, what's up, JD Tech in the house? What's up, brother? Glad you guys were able to make it. I know it's a little impromptu change this morning to go live tonight, but my kid's got baseball tomorrow. Pretty stoked because I had to miss his first game. His first game was on Saturday, and I was in class till like 6:30 at night, and his game was in the morning, first thing in the morning. So yeah, I bet it's about half. Oh, thanks, Blake. It's about half and half probably for people that like slide top versus a lid. Diabolical. What's up, man? Um, I just I don't know. I mean, I have I put my sockets on the lid and then I have like my safety glasses and my light hangs up there. And if I have to go under the vehicle where I can't wear a hat like on a creeper, I have a headband I'll throw on so I can put my stream light around my head. So, oh, did Diabolical get a new box? I haven't seen that yet. I feel like I'm like disconnected from Instagram today. I tried to post some stuff, but I kind of felt like I was, kind of just busy and found my phone was, either charging every time I wanted to say something or so. Yeah, I like having the lid too. I don't close the lid, but I like having the lid. So, oh, we added on. Okay. Yeah, and that's the other bad thing is that the slide top makes it a bigger cart. I couldn't have a slide top because I have my tray with all my sockets and ratchets and extensions and all my pry bars and what's up, Nick? Jim Lucky's in the house. All my pry bars and extensions and I couldn't live without that. So there will never be a slide top in my future. So what I did instead of having a slide top was because sometimes you have so Davion, he has a teardown tray and he swears by his teardown tray. And he puts some stuff on his tray, on his teardown tray, and he has it built pretty nice, really nice. And then he has tools on his cart. And so, and he's, trying to convince me. And so I don't really want to tear down tray. So what I did was I bought two of the $30 Harbor Freight carts, just a little, it's like 16 by, I don't know, 2.5 feet or whatever. And it works perfect. I can use it to put parts on from an engine job or like I had the injectors on there from the 7.3. So it worked out perfect because right when I bought them and put them together, I had the injectors on the 7.3, and then I had a used engine to do, and so I had parts everywhere. So it was perfect timing to have two extra carts because we don't have any carts in the shop. So, oh man, Anthony Robles, I have a really nice Streamlight one, man. You should go check out my. I have a video about it. It's really nice. I like it a lot. So if I had to buy another one, that's the one I would buy. So. I'll hang on one second. I'll say it. AgTech's in the house. What's up, AgTech? Thanks for joining the stream. I appreciate you. Um, so what's up, Chris? The weather is beautiful over here, man. It was like probably 85 today. I was sweating my ass off. And then at the end of the day, I'm in my second bay with the quick lift where I have the big diesel, and I'm in there, and the sun is it's so bright and so hot that I had to close the door. I was trying to put, the valve cover gasket. You have the injector connectors and the glow plug connector, right, all through the harness. and I was trying to connect them all. I was just trying to get the valve cover on, and I was trying to get the gasket on and all plugged in, and the valve cover set on, so both sides were at least sitting on top, so I didn't have to cover it with rags, right? I don't like to leave it open, critters or dirt, whatever. Um, and and I couldn't even see on the driver's side the glow plugs are on the back side of the injector, and there's always a little bit of oil around them, so there's only a little bit sticking up. I couldn't see the glow plugs. The sun was so bright. Even with my flashlight, I had to close the door. It was so damn hot. Oh man. Andrew Mal Garage, what's up, brother? Thanks for joining the stream. The Rubbermaid carts are nice, man. At my old shop, we had those. We had the big, I don't know, like 2 foot by 3 foot, rubber carts or whatever. Those are really nice, but I've never had my own. No, I take that back. My very first red, the same cart I was talking about was my very first tool cart when I started in the industry. And I would put my tools on there, and then I would put them back in my toolbox every day and lock it up because I thought that's what you do. And then one of the guys there was like, dude, if somebody breaks in here, they're not touching your tools, first of all. And they're going to be taking scanners and stuff. And so I stopped locking it up and eventually moved to a bigger cart. And so now that cart is actually my nuts and bolts cart. So the whole top is filled with just extra nuts and bolts. So, and I've had that ever since I've been, got a new cart. So I've had it like, probably 14 years. Oh, there you go. That's nice. What's up, Matt? Thanks for joining the stream. Snow. I keep seeing pictures of people on Instagram with the snow. Man, CP had a picture this weekend of a bunch of snow. Not here. It's like a pool party at my house now every single day. There's like a million kids over here swimming in the pool. So this is the time of year where it's like it's nice that we have the pool, all winter. You have to take care of it, take the filters out, clean it, brush the pool, do the bag, and all the stuff. Oh, Mrs. Nuts joined the party, and then this is when everybody starts swimming. So it's cool because all the kids come over. So Blake, so the way I made that cart, or the way I made that tray, and the way it happened, it was kind of interesting. So the smallest Harbor Freight cart is like a red one, and that's the one I was talking about. And then there's a bigger one, and that one's like 2x3 or whatever. It's a pretty good size. I had that cart for a long time, and so what happened is all kinds of little stuff started happening, like the front caster started to buckle because of the weight, and they started to push through the bottom tray because it was too heavy. And then and then the top and bottom started doing this, right? Started walking on me. The handle fell apart. I had to build a new handle. Um, and so what I did was I took that cart, and I swear, oh, what's up? Small engines in the house. I wish I had videos or pictures or whatever of that cart. I took that cart. I had another one at home, and I used to keep my tools on it, but I don't work on stuff at home, and it was just in the way. So I decided I was going to use that one. I was going to beef it up. So I went to the metal shop, and I bought like $80 worth of metal. And I put quarter-inch steel along the whole bottom of the cart, had the casters on there. I put a piece of exhaust pipe between the two front casters so they wouldn't buckle. We had a gas welder at the shop, and I welded exhaust. I put one piece of metal from one bottom corner to the top corner to keep it from buckling or from doing this. I put the wooden drawer in there so it had a drawer. And then I built the tray. And all I did was I took angle iron. I just took angle iron and I made a square. And then I cut out a piece of sheet metal and I laid the sheet metal on there. And then I drilled all the holes for all the different things. And then when I had to change it to put on my new cart, what I had to do was we just so happened at that time, we had, Nick, you're funny. we had a guy in the shop who was putting a metal plate over one side of the shop had pits, had oil pits, and we were covering them with big metal plates. And so he was welding in brackets all the way around. And so I said, "Hey, while you're here, would you mind, throwing a couple welds on this for me? Because I needed to shorten it up because my new cart wasn't as deep, and I had to the way I had to do the angle, the support. All we had was a crappy Harbor Freight welder with no gas, and so I had him throw some welds on there, but all it is angle iron, and then I welded it together. So I mean, it's a world of difference when you have a welder. I don't have a welder now, so I'm trying to work out a deal with a welding company. I want to start doing more. I want to start welding. I like welding. Welding is fun. Hell, I still have my from back when I used to weld. I have two things. I have my original jacket that I bought back when I first started in this industry, and it is covered. I mean, it's full of holes. I mean, all over. That's what I wore when I welded, and it's got holes everywhere. And then in the bottom of one of my drawers, I still have my snap-on welding gloves that I bought a long time ago, and they still feel like they're pretty clothy. They're like a leather, but they're movable. Sometimes you have something that might be soft when you use it, and then you put it away and you pick it up, and it's like hard and stiff and all that. So that one doesn't do that. Yeah. So I did MIG welding. Um, so that was the kind of welding. So it's funny when I first started there, I had never welded before, and I told the boss, hey, I never welded before, but I'm not afraid. You just have to show me how. And so my very first failed emissions test was a catalytic converter, and so I had to cut it out and weld a new one. And so basically, all we did was, and this shop was, we had a hydraulic pipe bender with a pipe expander on the other end, so it's all hydraulic. So it's really nice. Um, and and so all we did was took two pieces of pipe, we enlarged one, slid them together, put them in the vise. He did a couple little welds, and then said, "Here, you try." And then I started welding, and he said, "All right, keep practicing, and when you feel comfortable, put the cat on." And he walked away and went to his office, and that was it. And he never even. I don't even think he came back out and asked me how it was going. Um, and I practiced and welded all the way around the whole thing, and I learned from there. So I can tell you what, welding catalytic converters on cars is a pain in the ass because a lot of times at the top of the car, right up here, there's very little room. And if you don't get your welder in the right spot, then if you took this and you turned it on its side like this, what you would see is where the two pipes go together, and your welder was coming in like this, and it was dumping a bead of weld like before the pipes. And then you start it up, then you have an exhaust leak, and you got to fix it. Oh man, it sucks. You keep trying to throw, just trying to throw slag on there and just getting it to melt over. And man, I'll tell you what, I miss welding, but welding cats on cars is a pain in the ass. So, oh, nice. Okay, lots of ideas. I did a couple really sweet exhaust jobs. Um, I did. So my truck, I had a '01 F-150, and it just had two in, one out, regular muffler. And so I cut it off, and no way, hang on, no, it was a single in, single out. And so I just cut it off, and I put a single in, dual out, Flowmaster muffler, and then I fabricated by myself, first time ever, bent all the pipes to come out the back, and I brought them out like diagonally because everybody either had them like straight or they had them sideways, and I brought them out diagonally right into the bumper, and it turned out good. Um, And yeah, so that was the first one I ever did. That was the first time I ever did any sort of exhaust. One of my next big purchase is a TIG machine for home. That'd be nice, man. God darn. Follow some of those people on Instagram doing the TIG welding. Oh man. What do you call it? Stacking dimes? I think AgTech. AgTech's a good welder. Seen some good stuff from him. He was stacking dimes one time on Instagram. And that one doesn't use gas, right, Blake? I've been to two shops and they had the cheap Harbor Freight one, no gas, nothing like that, and I don't like it. I got to have some gas. I mean, I'm not a great welder. I'm sure because I've known guys that can weld even with that Harbor Freight one and no gas. Um, it just ends up like just snap popping. You just get all this like just individual like just amounts of material. Kind of crappy, but whatever. You have your own shop, Country Mile? Oh, nice. Okay, thank you, Blake. I appreciate that. Okay. Yeah, no gas. Oh, okay. Well, that's how you learn how to stack dimes. Okay. Man, that stuff is cool, man. God darn. And there's some really talented and I told you guys before, I love this when you see women that are in these industries and they're really good at what they're doing. And I think it's amazing. There's a lot of really amazing women welders. And I follow some of them on Instagram. There's some really cool stuff. I think it's fascinating. Just have you guys seen where on Instagram they'll show somebody and they'll have like a pen, but it'll be like a TIG welder, and they'll be sitting there and they'll be drawing and they'll just be drawing. And they're drawing the weld pattern on paper between two lines with the welding pen. With a pen that's like a TIG welder tip. So there you go. That's how AgTech learned how to stack dimes right there. Yeah, it's hard to find good workers. I mean, I don't care what level of person you're looking for. Um, Good luck, Anthony. Oh, okay. Awesome. How big's your shop? Oh, wow. Okay. Mobile welding, the backwoods mechanic. What's up, brother? Thanks for joining the stream. Appreciate you. Hope everybody's having a good week so far. Hope you got work. Hope you're busy. I hope if it does snow, you don't get too much. Yeah, I like to watch Anthony's extraction stuff too. Have you guys seen his TTS video? If you haven't, you guys should go check it out. It's pretty cool. He did one and he goes through and he shows you all of the wrenches he's not going to talk about. Um, and so yeah, it's pretty cool. Country Mile loves your extraction videos. Oh yeah, hit the like button if you don't mind. Okay, 3-car garage. Nothing wrong with that. 90 degrees here too, ETR. Where are you, ETR? I'm in Sacramento. It's hot. It's hot, hot. You know what's crazy is like we hit like 90 Sunday and Monday. We're supposed to be 90, 91. We hit like 92 on Sunday. And next weekend it's supposed to be like 65 and 68 with rain. Oh, so crazy. Oh, okay. What is that? Like Southern Riverside? That's Southern California, right? Yeah, that's Southern California. Not super familiar with all the areas down there, but and where are you, Anthony? I used to live in Fairfield, and you know what's funny about the Bay? People say the Bay. There's the East Bay. I used to live in Fairfield, and then I lived in Pleasanton for a while. Okay, yeah, SoCal. That's what I thought. Okay, 4 degrees. Holy crap! So this is the funny thing. So if you and I always find this. So my wife's family is all from Canada, or most of them are from Canada. And so if you ask any of them, like so AgTech just said it's 4 degrees Celsius. Um, they could tell you exactly what it was in Fahrenheit as well. But then you take someone in the United States and they'll tell you that the weather is, Fahrenheit. And if you ask them what it is in Celsius, I have no idea. And then when someone says the weather in Celsius, you're sitting there like, I have to Google it. I don't even know what the temperature is. I just find that it's very interesting. Uh, my wife's family, when we visit or when I talk to them, they they can fluently convert temperature between Celsius and Fahrenheit, like without even thinking about it, and also kilometers and miles. So yeah, I lived in North Carolina. Man, in the summertime, it got hot and humid. Hella hot. Hella humid. Man. Oh, okay. San Leandro. That's right. That's right. All right, Nick. Well, thanks for joining the stream, brother. Have a good day tomorrow. Ugh, Americans. Oh, she's hilarious. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cold. That's like 3 degrees above freezing. Well, what's freezing, Ag Tech, in Celsius? Zero, right? Is zero freezing? I think it is, right? That's how it goes. Zero is freezing. So then that would be about right because 32 is freezing in Fahrenheit. Okay. We got confirmation by the American/Canadian family person. Okay, there you go. And she's a school teacher. So give it up for Mrs. Nuts. She teaches the elementary school kids. I would lose my mind. Can only tell somebody to get in their chair and stop talking so many times. Okay, yeah, there you go. All right, we're all learning something here. We're learning about Celsius and Fahrenheit. Um, yeah, but I don't. I see, honey. I convert everything to Fahrenheit in my scanners and miles per hour, and yeah, yeah. I went to school a long time ago, though. 45, 45 now, so a long, long, long time ago. Yeah, there you go. Okay, she figured it out. I missed that day. Man, I have. I don't know if you guys are following, but I'm doing that an injector sleeve job, and it's kind of been it's kind of been work on it, but it's kind of on hold because we've been waiting for parts and this and that. And oh, this is interesting. That is interesting. Oh, I'm always converting it. Yeah, Newton meters to foot pounds. I don't know anything. You know what's crazy is I have a hard time with remembering conversions. Like I measure every break. I measure breaks and things like that in standard. I measure it in inches. Um, but and then some people will like want to know like in metric. So I worked at one shop where on the inspection, all the brake stuff was in metric. Luckily, my brake gauges, they're all I have written on there like what they are in 30 seconds, and then but it's stamped on there what they are in metric. But like if I look at something, I can't like, oh, that's 6 millimeters. I don't know. I can tell you in inches. But yeah, I've always had a hard time with the converting. Because I only use um, the other one. Plus, ag tech, a lot of. I mean, I guess it's good to learn about the United States because um, a lot of people come to the United States. I guess a lot of people go to Canada too. So that was dumb. Just forget I was talking. But oh, she can help you. Yeah. See, I know that's funny. I uh, it is. It is very. And then like it's crazy because one manufacturer will do it not one way, another manufacturer will do it another way. But what's surprising is actually I remember I was my old work, they were talking about changing everything to metric. And I was like, okay, but you realize that everything is in standard. If you go to all data, everything's in standard. Most vehicles, the brakes are all stamped in standard. So it's interesting how that is. Walter Frederick, what's up, man? Some stabilizer bars are in metric, in mm. Talk about a stabilizer bar, man. So there's nothing worse than doing a job and having a problem, right? Somebody coming back and after they drove it, customer picked it up, whatever, it doesn't matter. And come back and like, something is wrong with the car. Whether you did it or it was an accident or it happened and you didn't even know about it. And so, anyways, so I'm all done with this stupid Kia that I'm putting an engine in. And I dropped it down, torqued the wheels, and I was like, you know what? I don't know. For some reason, I thought, let me just lift this thing up and roll around under a creeper. Just make sure I have all my cotter pins in the right places and all that stuff. And because it was a cradle drop, I'm rolling around, and I look up at the stabilizer link on the passenger side, the one I just connected, and the ball popped out of the socket. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh man, you got to be kidding me. I mean, it was bolted up, so I mean, it wouldn't have been like I missed it or I didn't tighten something up. But it just still sucks to have something like that happen. So I'm happy that I caught it. So, but man, I'm flushing this cooling system on that 7.3 trying to get the fuel out. So I drained it. I filled it once with water, pressure tested it to make sure all the cups didn't leak, to make sure none of the cups leaked. And because once I put the injectors in, then it's you can't tell. And so I did that while I was put all the I was able to pressure test the cooling system, make sure the cups are good, and then I was able to slap all the injectors in, get the harness in, get the valve cover set on there. But I still got to drain the block this last time, and then put sealant on the plugs, and then I'm going to clean everything up, and I'm going to pressure test it, make sure those block plugs don't leak. So, yeah, we had to get new ones because, well, the one was rusted, and I had to drill it out. So we also have the idiot-proof tools, all the digital calipers and rapids, eighth millimeter, eighth tape measures now. Oh, really? Oh, see, I know how to read that. Eighths tape measure, so everything's in eighths. Um, oh, that's crazy. You know what would be interesting is to see. Um, well, in this case, I've never heard of that. In this case, I'm pretty much just like because I have to take the starter off to get the block plugs out, and so I can't like start the truck and run the truck or anything like that. But I mean, I had the entire cooling system completely empty because I had the block plugs out, I had heater hoses off. I mean, I had everything off because I replaced all the hoses, and so I filled it full of hot water twice. And this last time, I didn't smell any fuel coming out when I was when I drained the radiator. I didn't smell any fuel. Now tomorrow, I gotta pull the block plugs back out and finish draining the block. So, and then I don't know. I think I might roll with coolant from there. I think it's going to be okay. So there might be a little bit of fuel come back floating, but we're not doing the bottle. I guess we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait and have him come back in a couple weeks, and then we're gonna replace the degas bottle because no matter how good you try to clean something, if you have petroleum, you have oil, fuel, anything like that in your coolant, it's gonna surface and you're gonna see it in the bottle, and there's no hiding it. And so we're gonna give it a couple weeks, and then we're gonna change the bottle. They said that's what they do with the new shop because I've never come across this yet here. But they said that they had no problems with that doing it that way, even on 6 liters when an oil cooler goes. So you know what's interesting? Yeah, that is sad right there. Uh, when I was in school, we had to learn how to read an actual micrometer. Um, I did a class one time. It was this electric online class, and my old shop thought it was a good one because you would learn about hybrids and electrical. It was really stupid. We had to like read micrometers, and it was just the dumbest thing ever. But it was the first time in a really, really long time that I had to look at a micrometer and try to figure out like the measurement. So really interesting when you haven't used something like that for so long. So see, that's something I like about having the metric and standard, having a digital micrometer is because if you measure it out in inches, you don't have to go convert that from inches to millimeters. You just change your caliper to metric, and then look at the specs. So, but the one that I use, it's funny because the micrometer that I use, I bought it at Home Depot. It's actually pretty nice. It comes in like a wooden box, and the only thing I've done is the the teeth where they come across like it's a claw, right? And it like this, and then it has the section where it measures. Um, and so um, oh my god, I totally lost that whole train of thought. What the heck? That was weird. Um, oh my god. Oh, so all I did was the section here where they come together is I just ground in in the center of it. So that way when it comes together, if there's a lip on the rotor, it'll still measure the actual rotor, which I mean I guess it wouldn't matter because if you measured and it was, below or whatever and the rotors were warped or I mean not warped, but glazed or huge lip on them or anything like that, you wouldn't be recommending turning the rotors anyway. So yeah. So what's everybody working on this week? One thing I have right now is finishing that at 7.3. I gotta do I gotta finish I gotta put the valve covers on. They're just in place with a couple bolts on. I got to finish the valve covers, um, and I gotta do rear brakes on it. But that's it. And then I roll on to the Hemi. Yeah, you know what? It's funny. You know what's funny is so I'd never used and I've been in a couple other shops that had on the car lathes, and they were always pushed away in the back corner, and didn't work, and no one knew how to use them, and whatever. Um, and so at this shop, though, they don't do it a lot, but we resurface rotors, and they do it with on the car lathe. So pretty interesting. Um, I'd never actually even seen one work before. So, but then I worked at a different shop, and they don't even use their lathe. If you want brakes, you're getting brake pads and rotors. Period. There's no way around it. So working on getting the house in order after that 22-day long haul I was on. Holy crap. That doesn't sound fun. Yeah, you know what? You'll find that every once in a while. It'll be within spec, and then somebody will be like, I wanna. So what's the dumbest thing you guys have ever done doing a big job? So every time I think of a Hemi, I think about this one vehicle, this one truck. So I put it all together, and it's got a misfire, and I can see the cylinder. So I pull the valve cover, and what I did was on the driver's side in the center towards the back. I'm not 100% certain, but anyways, I didn't pay attention to where I put the push rod, and I put the push rod where it's not supposed to be, and so it wasn't opening the valve. It wasn't doing anything like that. It was an easy fix, but yeah, that one. That one was no fun. Oh, nice. Yeah, true that. I'm always torn when I look up measurements on rotors. Like I don't really want to even put the possibility that they could be turned because I don't want anybody to to say like, oh, let's turn them because then what'll happen is you'll start to turn them, and then the stupid rotor will start chattering, and then you have to replace it. There's nothing you can do, and you wasted your time trying to cut it when it ended up having a problem. Excuse me. Yeah, some rotors are more expensive, but oh yeah, oh my god, big time, man. Those can be a pain in the butt. Oh, here's the. Oh, that sucks. Hey, so I just did a 2013 Kia Sorento, and did you guys? So I've never. I don't. Well, I know I have. I just can't recall. I was really surprised to see the flywheel come off um with the engine. And so I went to go take it off, and it's just a little looks like it's like this big. I mean, the door converter is that big, and so I'm like turning it around, and it's not lining up, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? And so yeah, so I compared them. Man, oh, good night, nuts and bolts. Man, I'm tired today. Oh, I've heard of people doing that. Um, Not always ag tech. Uh, I mean, I guess I don't know. That's hard to say because it all depends on the driving habits. Because if you have somebody that doesn't, they're not on the brakes all the time or anything like that, then they're not going to be wearing the brakes down as much. But yeah, don't forget the drum brakes. Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, I have some drum brake tools. Not a lot, but I have some. The only one that can do drum brakes in the shop. Man, I'll give you a little tip. If you're doing drum brakes, do one side at a time. Because I'm telling you, you never know how long it's going to be waiting for parts. And sometimes when you think that you're going to remember, you don't necessarily always remember. So, Well, drum brakes are the one of the bigger causes, I would say, of someone coming back and saying, you know, whatever about my car. And I'm tired tonight. Is there get that where you're just extremely tired all of a sudden? You know what I use for the springs? I just use a small pair of vice grips. Needle nose vice grips, and I just grab one end and I just put it through the the hole. You know, bring the alternator over, and I don't know what I'm saying, man. I'm so tired right now. All of a sudden, yeah, definitely, man. Never take both sides apart ever. I was taught that from day one. Oh my God, the GMs with that stupid spring, that big U-shaped spring that would come up and then push down. Oh, that spring. Yeah, there's a tool for that one. Um, oh man, I did. I did. I had it on I put a little post on Instagram actually. I had to use that. So the Kia Sorento that I had to drop the cradle on it. So the 58-inch Dominator Mayhew pry bar doesn't fit through the OTC um, control arm tool uh, in all positions. It's because the Dominator is bigger. It's bigger and bigger around than my biggest pry bar. And so what you got to do is you just turn it. I mean, it's like it's just maybe on its side or whatever, but I mean, it's a pry bar. It's gonna do its pry bar job, and we had to do that. We ended up having to get out. We had to get out the air hammer with the air chisel. Oh my god, it was so much of a pain. But yes, I like it. And actually, I said it in my video. I did. I couldn't use it. I couldn't take a picture of it being used. But in my, I ended up fighting with that number 8 injector um, for probably like a half an hour. Okay. See, I use air tools on all suspension. Anyway, so these ball joints would not come out of this Kia. And so I had the 58-inch Dominator. I had the tool for the control arms on there. Man, I had everything. And the only way we were able to get it out was to take a slide hammer and slide hammer the pinch of the control arm. I mean of the knuckle that goes around the control arm. So, but luckily it went back together piece cake. Just wire brush the lug nut up and down and on the fort, and that's it. So didn't attach the springs. Oh, that's funny. My favorite is when someone comes in and they're like, "Oh yeah, my brakes are making noise," and you're like, "Oh," when I was the foreman over at my other shop, "Oh, your brakes are making noise," and so you go drive it, and yeah, they're making noise because when the shop did the brakes, they didn't tell you that you need to clean and adjust your rears, and then it was just a mess. Man, I'm sorry, guys. I'm like scatterbrained tonight. I'm like instantly just exhaustedly tired. It's so weird. Hit me like a ton of bricks too. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go throw a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I feel like I'm like sitting there talking. No, now I feel like I'm actually doing it. I'm sitting there talking, and then all of a sudden, I just like kind of doze off, and then I forget what I was talking about. So I apologize. I hate it when that happens. All right. Try to get back to this here. Okay. All right. All right. So Blake's had his 71 F-250 for almost 4 years. Oh, this is funny right here. I have a funny story about what he's talking about. Let me read this. All right. I got it from a person I got it from said when you brake, pulls to the left. Finally pulled the right front drum off today. No brakes on the truck, only a wheel cylinder. Oh my God. Man, you know what's funny about that? So I always forget which was to turn the star adjuster, up or down. It all depends on the way it is, Stephen. It doesn't matter because some like their left hand and right hand and the way it is because if if the star is on if the adjuster is on one side, you have to turn it the other way. But if it's flipped around, you have to turn it the other way. So um so you just have to all you do is just turn a couple notches. Um But so very long time ago, when I was first starting out, I was told from the very beginning, take every test, get every license, every certification you can. So I went and took ASEs. And man, I don't know what the heck was going on, but for some reason, I could not pass the brake test to save my life. Um, and I just couldn't do it. I could not pass it to save my life. And it was funny because one of the things that I had the hardest time grasping the concept of was if you're braking and your car pulls left, that the problem is not the left side. So it took me a very long time to get that to comprehend that. I know it sounds really stupid and really kind of dumb, but for some reason, I just could not comprehend. I couldn't fathom that. And because of that, I always seem to get like 4 or 5 questions about, your brakes are pulling one way when you're braking. And I just couldn't, for some reason, I just didn't get it. And yeah, and then once I got it, I was like, oh, kind of like automatic transmissions. All right. If you go take the ASE for automatic transmissions or you're diagnosing a vehicle, it doesn't matter. You have to remember one thing. So an automatic transmission, it needs transmission fluid, the same as an engine needs fuel. All right. So when your fuel comes in, you're going to have the fuel pushed in at a certain pressure, and then something is going to relieve it. Or I mean, I'm sorry, something is going to let it go higher. The fuel pressure regulator, right? Um, so in the automatic transmission, there is an EPC solenoid, electronic pressure control solenoid. That is the same thing as fuel pressure regulator. Not the same component, but it works the same. So when there's your fuel pressure regulator, if it fails, it's closed. So that way you have maximum fuel pressure. You can get to wherever you need to go. The same thing in an automatic transmission. If you have a problem with your solenoid or anything like that. It's going to go into you're going to have going to go full pressure, and that allows you to go into limp mode. But if you didn't have the full pressure, then limp mode wouldn't help you. You wouldn't be doing anything. So you just have to remember those couple things. Super important. Oh no, man! I drink the beer, and then I have coffee at night. It doesn't bother me at all. Oh no, that's stupid right there. If the caliper defects or whatever, if there's a problem like that, I won't even touch the brakes without doing calipers. So that's crazy right there. I've seen that happen a few times where there's like a brake fluid. You go, why is there a brake fluid leak? And you look and you're like, oh, because there's no pad. Oh, and the pistons popped out. Oh, geez. Some of the hardest problems are the ones caused by someone else working on them, or So be right back. Let me grab my coffee. Oh, man. All right. Here we go. Coffee. Sorry, guys. I know I'm kind of a flake tonight with the falling asleep and dozing off. And man, it is not you guys. It is me. And that is the truth. Man, hate that. It's good coffee. And just laugh. My little cup. All right, here we go. Had one customer bring one in. So there was a grinding noise in the rear. Found out a cousin of theirs replaced the rear brake pads, installed the brake pads in wrong. Oh yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard of that in the shop. So yeah, I do. You know what, Steven? I don't do drum brakes enough where I never even tried to even remember that stupid adjuster. The only thing I know is that when I take it apart, I always take the adjuster apart and I clean it with a wire brush, and I put brake the the lubricant, whatever I'm using at the time. At one point, I had a bottle of purple Permatex brake lubricant, and now I have a bottle of green stuff. Okay. So it took for me to get my electrical systems one. I think I took the electrical class 2 at least. Oh, you talking about for A6, Anthony? Yeah, you know what? You have to be a complete, and I will say this right now. And if I'm going to say this because it's true. If I ever put brake pads in wrong, I would just roll my stuff out and home, and then I would just have to find a new job, a new career, because that's a moron move right there. But I mean, you have to be a complete and utter absolute moron to put brake pads on backwards, and you have to try really hard because think about it. I mean, a lot of times, how long is the hardware? There's only that much room for it to slide on. And then when you put the brake pad on, isn't it wider because you have the backing plate and you have the friction material? So I don't know. There are some wonderful people out there. Let me tell you. All right. That's the only thing is usually it goes on the inside pad up top. If you have one pad that doesn't. Oh, I'm going to ask a question to see if somebody knows the answer. We play trivia. I've always wondered this question. All right, so if you have one pad on each side, so you're usually the pad with the wear bar, the noisemaker, that's going to go inside on top. So generally inside and on top. I just never put brakes on backwards, and he'll stack dimes all around the brakes. Yeah, there's definitely some people out there that should not be touching cars. Shouldn't even be allowed to have tools. I went to change the oil in my ex-brother-in-law's car a long time ago. When I lived in Benicia, we both lived in Benicia, and I went over to kind of help him out do a oil change. And he had like pretty much almost rounded his drain plug off. So he must have been using like standard stuff on metric. And anyways, I got it off, thank God. I had to change the drain plug and all that. And so we agreed at that point that I would work on his car and he would work on my computer. He was a computer guy. So, oh, no, I've heard of that. I have heard of calipers on upside down. I've heard of like the shop foreman. Actually, the company I used to work for, they had 3 stores. At one of the stores, they went round and round and round and round and round with this BMW trying to figure out what was wrong with it. Until they finally figured out that the caliper, the technician put it on it wrong. So the bleeder was at the bottom. So common sense is not common. It's not common at all. Yeah, yeah. They put them on the wrong side, and then the bleeder's upside down. So yeah, there you go. Different kinds of anti-seize or whatever. So no, no, it's like a green. I think it's a Permatex. I believe it's Permatex. Um, and then there's like a purple. So you know what? I keep. It's kind of funny. I keep all my ASE. So I have an ASE study guide for every ASE that I have, and I always get the guide, and I just go over it every 2 years. Now with the app, I don't really have to go back for A1 through A9 anymore because I keep passing those every year, so I potentially don't have to take those again. Just I have to take L1, L2, and exhaust. So that's the only ones that I can't do on the app. So L1 is advanced engine repair, and L2 is advanced diesel engine repair. And then there's exhaust, and exhaust is just it's about welding. It's about exhaust pipes. It's kind of confusing some stuff because I don't really know the answers. About double walled piping and stuff like that. It's just some interesting questions. So I got to look and see when it's due. I don't think I don't have anything due this year. But I keep all my study guides except for I'm missing a bunch because I must have let like some of my younger techs borrow them and they didn't give them back. Yeah, I've never actually come across the brakes being upside down, but I've heard about it a lot. Yeah, in my old shop, there was a guy who did that. So, and one of the caliper bolts came out. Actually, I will admit, somehow, hang on one second, Blake. Somehow I did brakes a long time ago. This is like 15 years ago. Within like my first year, I did some brakes on something, and I'm not a small guy, and so I actually have to be careful that I don't over tighten things. It's very easy for me. But yeah, I don't know what happened because I was before like I don't even think I didn't have air tools then. Like I mean, I had air tools, but no, I didn't have like impact wobbles to do brakes and stuff. So I don't know what happened. It was weird, but anyways, because of that happening like 15 years ago, I to this day still put Loctite on every single caliper bracket bolt that I put on, and I generally don't trust unless I'm in a real hurry. I generally don't trust my gun or my cordless tools. I run it in. Usually it's the 3/8 gun, uh, air gun, and I'm zapping that sucker in, and then I grab a ratchet real quick, and then I give it a one of those things that I can't not do because of that one bolt that came out that I have no idea how it came out. But anyways, um, one of those this funny things you never forget those, those little things. Yeah, we have smog. That's what I had to do. So the shop I'm at right now, they don't do smog, but my smog license is good for 2 years. And I learned, well, so for smog, if it expires, it's a pain to go back and get it again. It's easier just to keep it. And so I'm going to just maintain it. And that's what I had to do Saturday all day long. I had to go to a 12-hour class. But we did it in one day. Started at 8 and wrapped it up at 6:30. And then I had to do and then that's for the repair portion. So that way I can do smog repairs. And then I have the inspector license, and that's an online course. And I'm on there, and then I have to go on the computer for like, I think it took a little over 2 hours to do that one. You have to watch a bunch of stupid videos, and I mean, it's not some of it's not stupid, like as far as like what it is. Like they talk about emissions and they talk about how it all started and how it all became a problem, and when they discovered it and all that. So I mean, that part is pretty cool. It's just really corny. It's really long. You have to watch every single video. You can't get out of anything. So get back to Blake. Okay, so Blake, okay. Back in the day, the way it used to work was if you bought an ASE study guide, and within a certain amount of time, if you took that ASE and you failed it, they would refund you your money for the book. Because the ASE tests are hard. Not going to lie, they're hard when you first start taking tests. They're really hard unless you're a bookworm. Like I've worked with guys that passed all A1 through A8 before school was out, but they could not figure out how. They couldn't even figure out how to figure out what was wrong with the car. They didn't even know what to do, what direction to go. They had no idea. They had to call me, the guy who couldn't pass the test, but who could work on cars. So I got a question for you guys too. But anyway, so Blake, your best bet. It depends on which ones you're going to take. If you're going to try to get like all of them, if you get A1 through A8, then you get an ASE patch. You're allowed to get an ASE patch, and it says Master Technician. But and I mean that's worth it. That's worth it. You carry that around. That's good anywhere in the United States. It's just not good in Canada. But you can move anywhere you want in the United States, and you have those ASEs. And it doesn't mean that you know anything. It just, you obviously have to have the knowledge. The knowledge has to be in your brain, or you couldn't pass the test. And you have to be able to to think about the answer and like what's not right. But if you're gonna buy them, what I did a long time ago was I bought the whole pack. It was A1 through A8. And then since then I want to say it's around 20 or 30 bucks for one, Blake. For one book, I think it's around 20 or 30 bucks. So, but I mean, at the end of the book, so so here's L2. So back in the day, they used to be spiral bound. So here's L2. So the thing that I like about the ASE tests, the ASE study guide, is that like at the back of at the L2, you have a practice test. And I mean, they're not going to be on these questions aren't going to be on the test, but I mean, it's all ASE questions, so it lays it all out. If you haven't taken an ASE test, you're going to come across and everything is A, B, C, or D, A, B, C, or D, and you're either going to have questions that are accept. So, like this question, for example, this is L2. All of the following can cause blue smoke except worn valve guides, a restricted air cleaner, worn piston rings, or faulty twistly. The restricted air cleaner is the answer. And the cool thing about it is, and this is really one of the big benefits to taking this test, to buying the book, is that when you so once you answer the question, so what I do is I go take the test. I write down all the answers right here. Then I go back and then I look at what I got wrong. And so then what it'll do is it'll tell you what the answer is, but it will also tell you why. So you're gonna have ones where it's gonna say accept, and you got to be careful because that one's very tricky. Because if you forget that word accept, then you can get mixed up. Remember that. And then you're gonna have, this is the most common one, technician A and technician B. So you're gonna have one guy says one thing, the second guy says another thing. So it's going to be either A only, B only, C is both, or D is neither. That one's kind of, those can be really tricky. You're going to have A, B, C, or D, which is going to be multiple choice. And then then you're going to have another one, which is what is the most likely? Meaning that all of them can cause it, but what is the most likely? And I mean, the book kind of goes you through, it goes through the systems and things like that. So when you get to the fun part about when you really get in there is, I'll tell you what, if you want to learn some electrical, well, you got to pass A8 before you could take L1. L1 and L2 are the same. So basically it works like this. This is a composite vehicle in this packet, okay? In this packet is a make-believe vehicle. They have made up a vehicle. And this vehicle is made up. It tells you the fuel system. It tells you what kind of fuel system it has. It tells you about the coolant temp sensor. It tells you about all the sensors, what kind of sensor they are, what ranges they are, their voltages, everything. So essentially you have this car that rolls into your shop. They're going to tell you that it has a problem. You have to diagnose that car based on a car in a book. Then that's going to be half the questions, and the other half are going to be general questions, just in general, like that, the one I told you about with the burning oil. Now, this one right here, I was really excited to pass this ASE. I was still kind of learning diesels and things like that. So that one was really cool because that's actually medium and heavy duty diesel. So, but anyways, ASEs, they go everywhere with you. So if you're in this field, if you're in this industry, take ASEs. It doesn't mean you know anything. I mean, really, because I've met a lot of guys that had, all the ASEs I have, or most of them, and they couldn't fix shit. They didn't even know how to fix anything. But one of the cool things about the book, Blake, is that it goes through the different systems and it kind of talks about them and how they work. So if you are going to work on diesel, you're going to go take a diesel test. It'll walk you through how a Huey system works, which is a high oil pressure fuel injection system on a diesel. Talks about common rail and things like that. So if you can understand how things work, then you can diagnose them without. You can diagnose them easier. Well, you can pass the test, I should say. So, I didn't hear. And then here's the most important part right here. So just because you can pass tests does not mean you can fix things. But I mean, think about it. if you're gonna open your if you're gonna own your own shop or whatever, whatever, that's great. That's awesome. But get the ASCs. Pass the ASCs. You can display the ASC sign in your shop. You can have a master technician. It just looks good. And really, what does it look good for? If you have your own shop, it looks good for the technicians. Um, if you work in a shop, it looks good for the boss because it means that you obviously know something. And then, like me, when I go apply at a shop, I have all the certifications, I have all the tools, I know how to do everything on paper. And then it's just a matter of when I get in the shop, can I actually do what all of that crap says I can do? Can I diagnose a car, truck, vehicle, whatever? And can I fix it in a manner of, in a decent matter of time? So, just interesting talk about that. But I still have a question for everyone in just a minute. Um, I've walked into the shop at 12 a.m. and in 16 hours, 3 engineers and 4 techs couldn't figure something out. I handed some tools to them and said, do this and this. 30 minutes done. Yeah, I've had a lot of guys that, man. No, so ag tech, and here's the other thing. So I've had my books ever since obviously 16 years. They're not spiral bound anymore. They're just a regular book. So when I first started, I took all the ASEs. I had A1 through A8 except for automatic transmission. I took that test and I bombed it really bad. I mean, really bad. To the point where I was like, yeah, I'm not going to take this. I don't care. I didn't even buy ASE patches because I was waiting to hold out for that master technician patch. And you got to have A1 through A8 before you can buy them. They won't let you buy them. And so I was holding out for it. And then I bombed it so bad. I was like, nope, forget it. So I got my ASE patches and whatever. And then years later, I was the foreman at another shop, and one of the guys quit. And that guy, he had A1 through A8. Well, so with ASEs, you have what's called, if you ever been to a shop, you'll have what's called a blue seal of excellence shop. And that means that you have A1 through A8 employed in your shop, meaning that if you could have 8 technicians and if all of them had a different ASE and they all covered A1 through A8, then your shop is covered for a blue seal of excellence. And so we didn't have automatic transmissions in the shop when that guy quit. And so they came to me and said, hey, in your paperwork, in your contract for being the foreman, it says that you must be a master technician. So we really need you to get automatic transmissions. I'm like, oh man. So I was like, I had to go take it. And I thought, you know what? The book's old. I bought the book a long time ago. Let me buy a new one. So I bought a new one. Same book pretty much. No, not how much. Not much has changed. So no, I don't think that they're any different. Now, the ones that are going to be different. I mean, I guess if you were to buy a current book, I mean, I guess in a way, ag tech. Actually, the real question is, I think actually it would be beneficial. Like my books would not be beneficial to somebody that was going to go take ASEs now. Like if Blake had my books and was going to go take all the ASEs, would not benefit him whatever because my book doesn't talk about CVT transmissions at all whatsoever. And I mean, most transmissions out now are CVT. My book does not talk about electronic braking, nothing with the brake system. It's just ABS brakes and whatever. But it doesn't talk about any of that stuff. HVAC, you know. So I would say that a current book would be better. But back when I took automatic transmissions, I went and I got the book again. Now to be fair, I bought the second book probably 7 years ago. So things hadn't changed as much 7 years ago as they have now. Like from 7 years ago to now, the automotive industry has changed tremendously. Now we have electronic power steering, right? So my steering and suspension book isn't going to be worth anything because now there's TPMS. I mean, and that's actually a tough test to pass is steering and suspension because not only do you have let's just talk about you have gearboxes, okay? You have two different kinds of steer, well, three different kinds of steering. You have a gearbox, you have a rack and pinion, and you have electronic, right? So you have but the two fluids. But then the gearbox, you have to know how the gearbox works. You have to know about how many balls there are in there, how many articulating balls or whatever I forgot what they're called. You have to know how all that works. You have to know how the internals of the three different kinds of power steering pumps work because they're all three different and they all work differently. And one problem can be different for one pump versus the other two. But now you have electronic power steering. You have where the whole steering column is the power steering system. You have rack and pinions with these gigantic motors. You have TPMS, and then we have all this electronic suspension and all that stuff. So it would definitely be a lot different now than it was then. So yes, you are right. Now here's the question I have for you guys. I'm gonna ask this question, and maybe we'll get back to it another time. So you're doing front brakes, and you take both of your bolts out of your front calipers, not the rear, only the front. Why does the top bolt have rubber at the end of it, the pivot bolt, the sliding bolt? Why does the end of the top bolt have rubber and not the bottom bolt? Question. I never knew the answer. I've never been around anybody that knew the answer. I always wonder every time I do brakes. I just want to know why. I'm assuming it has to do with when you're braking, and most of the pressure is on that portion of the caliper. I don't know if it's supposed to to kind of buffer it more. I'm not sure. Oh, okay, yeah. The O1 is hard, and they just changed it like 8 months ago, maybe. Um, I just went to the class right now, and the instructor said the new L1 test that they just came out with, it has an 86% fail rate on the first try. 86% of people are failing it. Almost every person that I know that was recertifying L1 failed it the first time. I passed mine, but because they changed the composite vehicle. Remember, I was talking about that pretend vehicle. They changed it to a current vehicle with variable valve timing and a complicated evap system and a way more complicated security system and a CAN network and all this stuff. And it's crazy. I mean, the book lays everything out. You have every sensor. You have. It shows you the APP and the operating voltages. It shows you the TPS and the operating voltages, all the different, temp sensors, all that stuff. So, all right. Oh, does it keep them from rattling? Helps keep it lube. But what about the other one? Hey, thanks for joining the chat, Snap On Addict 101. So yeah, that's just a little interesting thing. I found that top bolt has that rubber bushing on it. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. I feel much better now. That cup of coffee kicked in. I think just getting up and going and getting the coffee woke me up. But so here's a cool thing. So have you ever had a job? So the tool company I own the least is Mac Tools. I have the least amount of Mac tool stuff because the only Mac tools, it's the same Mac driver that's in this area, and all my shops have been in this, in this vicinity. This guy, this is his area, and every shop I've ever been in, he comes one time, and then he once or twice, three times, and then never comes again. And then at this shop, he comes all the time. But so because of that, I don't have very much Mac tool stuff. However, I just had to drill out a rusted um, a rusted block plug in a 7.3, and it was a pain in the butt. And you'll be I'll be showing you pretty soon what it took to get this thing out. But man, it was a very when I started looking at all the tools that I used, I was like, oh my god, it's like almost all Mac tools. Pretty interesting. Steven, okay, so I used to take classes, I would say maybe twice a year. Okay. So there's this company called ATG, Automotive Training Group. And they used to do these classes and they would come out and it would be 2 days a week. You could be like Tuesday, Wednesday. And it would be from, 6 to 10. And I mean, when I say 6 to 10, it's from 6 to 10. No food. They don't provide food. It was at a hotel, so there was coffee and water and soda and stuff, but that was it. You eat before you come. You're learning, but the class was like probably $300 a person, and you got a big old fat book like this thick, spiral bound book. I mean, really, really good book. And I would go to those, and those were always reserved to the the higher people in the class. Usually, only one or two people from the shop could go to that class because it was so expensive. And obviously, I always went. And then I would pick, the next highest person, and then we would go. And it would be, I've been to like probably 8 or 9 of their classes. Amazing classes. The instructor Dean, he was fantastic. And then before COVID, he retired from the teaching, from the traveling and teaching, because he was based out of Southern California. He has a big shop down there, and so then they brought in another guy, and that class sucked. And then I started working at a different job, and we were talking, and we all kind of agreed about the last experience because they had went too, and so we went to the next one just to see. It was awful. It was so bad. I wrote him a letter saying I have no interest in going to your classes anymore. So we always have like O'Reilly and Factory Motor Parts and Napa and all these different parts stores will put on training, and they'll feed you, they'll food, really good food usually. I go to one of those a year, maybe two, depending on the information. If it's like electronic throttle or something that I'm interested in, something that I feel like I could get a tidbit of information out of. The problem with me is that not that I can't learn anything and not that I know everything, but most of the time when I go to classes, the stuff that they talk about, I already know because they're catering to the younger guys. They're catering to the other people that aren't master techs to learn and build them up and teach them. But like when I was coming up, except for those classes weren't available when I was coming up. It wasn't until I already had figured it all out by trial and error. Well, not figured it all out, but figured a lot of it out by trial and error. So unfortunately, it wasn't available then. It's available now. But then since then, with the whole coronavirus, there was an ATG class that I did online, and it was exhaust. It was exhaust after treatment. It was a pretty good class. It was basically exhaust after treatment in one class. They didn't talk about specifically. It wasn't like a Cummins class. It wasn't a Power Stroke class. It wasn't a Duramax class. It was how the systems work because they all work the same. Just a matter of if you work on a cabin chat, like if you work on a pickup style vehicle or a van, then your SCR is I have to look it up. I believe the SCR is before the particulate filter or something like that. And then if it's a medium duty vehicle, then it's flipped or something like that. I don't work on the others, the bigger style, but they flip them around. So we talked about that. We talked about some different. That was actually a pretty good class. And then I did another one and it sucked. And I'm just done with the whole online training. You don't learn anything. Online training, it just sucks. So, but I was going once or twice a year. I used to go a lot back when I was, trying to learn stuff. And then I guess went to a lot of classes, and then I was coming home and going, you know what? That was the biggest waste of time. Like it wasn't even. I went to a class where they were like, "Oh, this is geared towards you, Tony," and I went to the class and they lied. It was not geared towards me at all. I knew just as much as the instructors did. So, anyways, no Matco tools or Mac tools. No driver, and my box is mostly Snap-on and Canadian Tire and Gear Wrench. Nice, man. I said, Snap-on Addict. You should check out. I don't know how you feel. Well, you have Gear Wrench. I don't know how you feel about other companies, but Sunex and Capri, Tekton make some really good tools as well. So, I mean, it sounds like you like Snap-on based on your name. But just keep those other companies in mind. They make really good tools. I have some good stuff from them. I don't have any Mac tools at all. I don't have a dealer. I have Proto stuff. Nice. So Proto. So have you guys heard of the Michael Pro tools? I think it's Michael Pro tools on Instagram. See, for the longest time I thought that was Proto, but it's not Proto. I've never seen a Proto tool. I just got the Torx RBRT. I haven't used them yet, but Standard Motor Products has the classes too. Yeah, so I found this. If you don't know a lot, like let me rephrase that because that sounded really bad. If you are learning, if you are so here in California, I don't know how it is in the rest of the country or other states or whatever, but we have like you'll have like an entry level guy, lube tech, whatever. And then you'll have and he'll be like an apprentice, and then you'll have like a journeyman. So a journeyman is like a guy who's just starting to do some diagnosis and things like that. But anyway, so you have different levels of technicians. So if you're like a 1, 2, or 3, like if you have A, B, C, D and A is the best. D, C, and B, you can go to those classes and you can learn a lot of stuff at most of those classes. If you're an A tech, it's really hard to learn anything at those. I used to come home and I would be like, you know what? Okay, well, I learned one thing. So I guess it wasn't a complete bust. But then I went to a bunch of classes where I didn't learn anything. And I was like, and then the books are crappy. They're just like little thin, whatever. So, anyways, but I found this. If they provide food, the class is probably not geared towards an A tech. If they don't provide food, it is geared towards an A tech, and a D and a C tech are going to struggle because the information is going to be higher level information. So those are geared towards the B and A techs, and the C techs. If you're sharp, you can kind of pick it up. But those are the classes where you go there and you get knowledge, not food, knowledge. At least that's how it is here. That's what I've seen. So I have only a set of Mac hose pinch-off pliers. Dealer's a ghost at the shops I've been in. Yeah, that sucks, man. I hate that, dude. Seems like Mac is like the one company, but you'll see in a video I have coming up. I mean, it's funny because most of the Mac tools that I have are all kind of in the same area of tools. But let me get through these before I get off here. I gotta get off in just a minute here. All right, Anthony, the stuff you don't know or refresher in new equipment in person or online. I cannot learn from a book. Yeah, I can't either. That's why the online stuff sucks. I need to be in a class. And also in the class, you have the classroom discussion, and you have this, different conversations. Like when I go to my smog update class, it's all of us are, we all have L1, and we all do smogs and diagnosis, and uh, do higher level electrical diagnostics and things like that. So the conversations can get pretty technical, and it's pretty cool. So oh, nice, Blake. I can't wait to see you, man. That's fantastic. Sweet brother. Good night, man. Thanks for joining the chat. Yeah, I'm hoping, man. You know what? My kids just started going back to school, My kids have started going. My youngest one in elementary school, he's been back since I think even well back in October, I think, where they would go like Tuesday through Thursday, Tuesday through Friday for like 4 hours a day. My middle school kid, he just started back a few weeks ago, 4 days a week, only half a day and only 4 days. I'm hoping that we're on the uptick. I'm hoping that we're on the uptick and we get back to normal. So we have a cruise booked for next year in June. I can't wait. So excited. We actually had a cruise book. We were going on a cruise when the corona hit. I believe we were going in like April or May. I can't remember. April, I think, because my wife, Mrs. Neff tried to joke with me that the cruise was my birthday present. Um, and and we were on the cusp of like right when everything was closing down. Are we going to be able to go? They haven't closed it. Are we going to go? And I think it was just a few weeks before. I believe maybe it was a little bit longer, but they closed. They shut it down. So um, yeah, it's pretty funny. All right, let me read these last few, and then I got to bounce. It's a weird tone because hungry people get uncomfortable and will stop learning. But you know what? You're hungry, man. Go eat. They always say go eat before you take the test, the class. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. See, I learned from hearing it, talking about it. Being able to ask questions. Yeah. So yes, and that's the problem with a lot of classes is they are geared towards a company. If it's a standard, they're selling standard product. If it's Napa, they're selling Napa. The only thing I ever like is that sometimes I've been to diesel classes. Like I went to Ford for a diesel class, and that guy was telling us not to put aftermarket fuel filters in Sprinters and Duramaxes. And I was in a Power Stroke class. So that was a diesel instructor, not a Ford guy trying to sell Ford products. So big difference. So anyways, guys, well, thank you so much for joining the stream, and I'll keep you guys posted. My live stream will have to be bouncing around because my little one, he plays baseball, and he'll have at least one game during the week and maybe a practice. So I'll have to bounce my live around. We'll have to see. Hopefully, it doesn't interfere with other people's live streams. Hopefully, we can keep it going, and hopefully, you enjoyed the stream. And thank you to everyone that joined, that came in for the first time. Snap on Addict. I think there was somebody earlier that came in was the first time. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you joining the stream. That's the best knowledge right there is the ones that you have to fix or diagnose that you screwed up. So, all right, guys. Well, have a good night, and I will see you next time. And yep, have a good one. Kick ass. Let's get it.